Hello everyone! Welcome back to Gardening with the Landscape Connection. My name is Michelle. I am a gardener in Northern Illinois, Zone 5. I own a garden center, but I also am a home gardener as well. I was a landscaper for about 15 years. I've retired from that. I still do some landscaping around town. I kind of cherry pick what it is that I'm going to do. But for the most part, I am really at the garden center full time, and I garden at my house a lot too. So my station is about gardening, and if this is your first time here, welcome. I'm so glad that you decided to join us. And if you are someone that is returning, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate your support very, very much. So I hope that as we've gone on our journey so far this year in gardening, that you have learned some things. Back in April, I started my Super Pot Challenge where I potted up 12 different recipes in annual pots, and I was going to take you along with me as I progressed through the season and how they looked. So I actually thought today I would show you the 12 pots and where they're at. Now I'm going to just kind of start it out a little bit with some of these pots we planted way back in April when it was still cold outside. They were kept inside the greenhouse until I was able to take them outside, and I feel like that took forever before we could take them outside and they could harden off and they weren't like gonna freeze overnight, because we really took a long time to warm up. So they're probably not as far as I want them to be, but they're doing very well. We feed them with a Miracle-Gro, which today is Friday. It's Fertilizer Friday. So I will be feeding my pots today, and I feed them here at the store every 7 days. Now at home, I'm a little more hit and miss with that. I try to get them like every 12 to 15 days. I certainly don't hit them once a week at my house because I'm here all the time, and I have staff here that can help me if I miss a day. I can go, hey Tina, will you run out and fertilize the pots? And she's like, absolutely, I'm all over it. And she'll run out there and get them all done for me. So I'm very blessed that I have employees here that can help me with all of the gazillion projects that I have going on. The other thing is I do have some other pots going that I showed you in videos, and we will be doing some more planting in the next video, along with some perennial maintenance up in the front of the garden center. So you'll be able to see some of that as well. And then I'll take you on another tour at my house, because from when I did the first tour till now, things are bigger, they look better, things are blooming, and I just thought maybe it'd be interesting to do a June tour so you can kind of see where things are at. So those are all coming up in my next videos. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you kind of what I do with the Miracle-Gro to fertilize my pots. So I have my trusty watering can here, and I do it with a watering can. I know some people will get the sprayer that attaches to the hose end and they'll do it that way, and I'll bet that that's way faster than what I'm doing, but I'm a little bit of a control freak, and yeah, I freely admit it. I want to know that fertilizer is getting in every one of my pots, and I feel like when I use that sprayer, I get a lot of fertilizer in the pots that I do at the beginning, and the water's still blue, but I really don't know that there's a lot of fertilizer left by the time I get to the end. I think it's great in a broadcast application, but when I'm doing my container pots, I want to have control over that. So I mix it up in the watering can. Now this is a 2 gallon or an 8 liter, close enough to the math, watering can. And the Miracle-Gro will come with its own little scoop here. And so this side is a tablespoon and a half. And the instructions will tell you, and I get one of these big ones like this. And in this big one, I get these 4 packets like this. And what I do is, it's supposed to be a tablespoon and a half per gallon. Well, what I do is I just get a nice heaping tablespoon like this. And, sorry about that. I pour it right into my watering can, right at the bottom. I just pour it right in there. And then what I do is when I'm filling it up, I will put my hose in here, and then I'll shake my can around while I'm filling it up. All right, got my hose ready here. And what I do is I just stick that down in there, and then I just shake it up like this to make sure that I'm mixing all the granulars up in there. And then the other thing you should know is that if you have the hose on like a really high water pressure, it will create foam in there. So I always like to stick it down inside of the can so I don't create any foam and then it's spilling all over the place, because I don't want to waste any product. So I'm going to fill this up, and then this will probably water 3 to 4 different size containers depending on what size they are. Okay, so I ended up getting 3 larger pots and 1 smaller pot out of this 1 watering can. Okay, so I'm going to take you through all of the recipes and how they're doing from video number 1, which was called Summer Garden Containers. You can go back and link that. I'll link. I don't know if I know how to link it down below. I'll see if I can figure that out. Otherwise, it was called Summer Garden Containers. There's part 2, part 3. So I will show you the ones that I did. The first 4. They might not be in the order that I did them, but these are the 4 that were in that video. This first one is called It's True. It is a proven winner recipe, and as you can see here, it has the Silverberry Super Petunia here. It has this beautiful begonia back here. This is the Surefire Rose. See why I keep tags, because that way I can just pull them out and look at them. And then it has a Diamond Frosty Forbia, which that doesn't seem like it's doing as well, but we're gonna put it in there. The Silverberry seems to be doing pretty good. I wish the begonia would get a little bit bigger, but from a backed up view, you can see what that looks like right there. So not too bad. These I can talk. These pots were all planted on 4/21. So that's number 1. All right, here's the next one that I planted. This one was called Ladies' Day, and this was one of the recipes that we sold in the store. I did it in the white pot. And this has got the pink Gaura in it, which is like right through here, through the middle. It's not as vibrant as I'd want it to be. It seems like it went through like a flush of blooms and now it's like resting. So I'm hoping that it flushes out again, we'll see. And then I have, again, the Silverberry Super Petunia, and I have the Bordeaux. So those are doing very well. They're intermingling together. I love the way they look together. And you can kind of come around the pot here and see how those are doing together. Let me back up so you can see that. So that was one of the pots that I did as well, and I really like the way this one looks. Okay, so I had to come all the way to my house to look at this next one. This was a proven winner for the most part recipe called, what was this one called? I think it was called It's True, or no, Sunny Days. It was called Sunny Days, and it's got the Super Petunia Mini Vista Yellow. It's got that new Mini Me watermelon, and then it's got an Ogon grass. And as you can see, this Super Petunia Mini Vista Yellow is wow. It is very vigorous, and this does get sun later in the day, but it's still doing well, even if it's not full blazing hot afternoon sun. Now I do have this in a terracotta pot, so I do have to I water it a little more often because it isn't very deep. So I'm finding that I have to water this almost every single day. Okay, and here's the next one that I'll show you. Now this one here is one that I plant every single year. I planted this up in a different pot at the store, and then the girls sold it. So I knew I was gonna plant it here at home. And so this has got the Super Petunia Picasso. It also has the Limon Wedge Potato Vine, and then it's got the big dark pink Angelonia in the middle. So there's one there, and then I have another one right here. And they seem to be doing pretty good. Now these actually got planted more towards the first week in May because the other ones that I planted got sold. So these are the ones that I'll use from here on out to show you kind of what they look like. These are one of my favorite pots though. I grow this one every single year. Then I wanted to show you that very first pot that I showed you that had the begonia and the Super Petunia Silverberry in it and the Diamond Frosty Forbia. This is my version of that in a larger pot. Instead of planting it in like a quad of 3 different plants, I planted it with the rose begonias on either side. I put the Silverberry in the middle in the hopes that it's going to grow through everything, and then I did a Diamond Frosty Forbia, one on either side. So this is my version of that in a bigger pot. I don't know that I love the balance of the first one that I showed you. It seems like the Super Petunia is going to kind of be the biggest thing in the pot, and I worry that it won't look balanced after it grows a little bit more, but we'll give it some time and see what it does. This one I did 2 pots, and they actually flank the entrance to the sidewalk right here on either side that leads to the side of my house, or the front of my house, depending on, I don't know, whose perception it is, because the road is out there. Okay, so that was the 4 pots that I did in the very first video. This next section, the next 4 pots, these are the ones that I did in video number 2, and I had to take notes. I actually did those pots on 4/27. So these have been a little over a month. So today is June 9th. So if to give you some perspective as far as how long they've been growing. So we're going to start here at my house because I have 2 sets that are here, and then we'll go back to the garden center because there's 2 sets over there. All right, here is the next pot here. This is the one that I used, the Scaevola, the blue violet. I also used a Super Cal, oh, I'm not holding them high enough, a Super Cal Sunray Pink, which is this one right here, and then here's the Scaevola. And then I also used a American Light Pink Splash Salmon, which right now, I mean, they're right here, they're in here, but they're like in between blooms, so there's no geraniums blooming right now, which is kind of a bummer. And then I used a Glacier Ivy, which I'm training to work through the different parts of the pot, and then I'll have it trail down as well. To me, this pot seems a little misproportioned. Again, the petrichor is kind of the bigger piece over here. The geraniums, I was hoping that they would bloom more consistently. I do have this in a terracotta pot, and again, this is one I have to water pretty much every day because it is a smaller pot. Even though I lined it with plastic, I still have to water it every day. I don't dislike this pot, but it's not 100% what I thought it would be. It's not that soft romance pot that I wanted, but we're gonna keep watering it, keep feeding it, and see if maybe in a month it looks different because it's grown some more. And you know, they do change as they grow. All right, the next pot that I did at the store was one of the budget economy pots. I did it in a big brown pot. I used one of the Coleus from Proven Winners from the Color Blaze series. I believe it was a Velveteen, and then I just used a 6-pack of Impatiens to ring it. Now I've got that same thing going on here down the sidewalk, except I've used the Pineapple Brandy, and then I did the Velveteen, Pineapple Brownie Velveteen. So I did every other pot, and then in here I did this Portland mix of Impatiens. So they're not very big, but they're bigger than they were when I started, and these will grow and fill these pots, and they will be like just the star-studded stars of my sidewalk. They will be so beautiful when they get a little bit bigger. And again, these weren't planted until probably the 2nd week in May. So they just started to put on a little bit of growth. Okay, the next pots that we have are 2 Waterwise pots that I did, and I think these are doing pretty good. The only thing I have to say is on one of them, I'm probably going to have to replant the rosemary that's in the middle. Now, I love the Calibrachoas in here, and everything that I put in here is supposed to complement each other and supposed to be able to dry out in between waterings. So in this one here, we ended up using the Holy Smokes Calibrachoas. Aren't those great? I just think that these are doing fabulous. And we're not overwatering them, otherwise we'd have some yellow foliage on there. So we're doing everything right. I just think that there's some vigor going on with the Proven Winners, and I can't get the rosemary to catch up. So I've got rosemary here in the middle and the lavender in the back. And then this is the Luscious, I believe it was the, oh my goodness, I can't even remember. It was, it's a Lantana. Oh, it's the Luscious Royal Lemon Tart. And so I just think that those are gorgeous. Now on the other one here, I can't even see any rosemary. I think it's in there, but it's not. See, it's way down there, and I think it died. So I'll have to put a rosemary plant in here so that they still match. But overall, I'm pretty pleased with how these 2 look. I'm pretty happy. Maybe the rosemary, if I can find a bigger one in the greenhouse, I can get it in there and it won't get overcome by the other vigorously growing Lantana and Calibrachoas. But I love this. I think this one, these are 2 of my favorites. I think they look great. All right, here we are back in the hoop house, and as you can see, I've stashed quite a few white plants back here because I will be planting my moon garden hopefully next week. But the pots that I did for the moon garden are doing absolutely fabulous. So I just think that these are looking great. Okay, I had to pull them apart. Okay, so I've used the mini white Vista petunia from Proven Winners. I've got a helichrysum in here, and then we did a spike in the middle, so that's our spike right here. And then we've also got some of the white fan flower in here, the Scaevola. So I just think that these both are beautiful. They are gonna actually flank the steps going up to the pergola area. And then we have another one. It wasn't part of the Super Summer Challenge. I did it like one of the first pots that I did, but this one will also be going up as well. And you can see as the mini Vista white petunias get older and age and grow, they get bigger. because this was planted probably a month before this one, and look how tiny these are. And then look how much bigger those are. So these are for the moon garden, but those were also pots that we did for the Super Summer Challenge. Okay, so that was everything that we did in part 2. Now we're gonna do part 3, which I thought when I started the video that I was doing 4 pots, and I actually ended up doing 5. So instead of 12, we have 13 pots in our Super Summer Challenge, and that's okay. And why am I calling it a Super Summer Challenge? Because by the time we get to the end of July, beginning of August, I'm gonna figure out how to set it up so that you guys can send me pictures of your pots, and then we can do like a viewer, let's look at all your pots. It'll be so cool, because you know what? I love looking at other people's landscaping and other people's pots. It is so fun. When I drive around town, I'm always looking for really cool ideas and inspiration, and I get that by just looking at other people's stuff. And you know what? That's why we watch videos, we go to Pinterest. That's why I have a channel. So let's do the last 5 pots from part 3 of our summer containers. So hold on, let me go find them. I totally lucked out, and they all ended up being in, not all of them, but 3 of them ended up being right here in this back area. So this was the one that we planted called It's True, and this has got the Salvia Unplugged So Blue. No, I'm wrong. Let me try again. Okay, so this is the Gomphrena Pink Truffula in the center. It has the, what is that stuff called? I can't even think of it right this second. Sedum, lemon coral. Oh my goodness, it's one of my favorite sedums. But there it is, flanking either side, doing fabulous. I'll probably have to thin it out. And then we've got the Luscious Berry Blend Lantana. And so I did that because I like the yellow and the pinks in it to kind of go with that Gomphrena in the center. And then I had that little ant guy in there. He was nestled in here, like right up here. And so I need to just put him back in there. So there he is. Isn't that great? This one's doing really well. I like the way it looks. It looks good from all sides. So here's another look at it from this direction. I think it looks great. All right, another pot that we did was our red, white, and blue All-American pot. And this one here, we ended up using the Proven Winners Blue Lobelia, the Laguna Dark Blue. We used the Mini Vista White, the Mini Vista White Petunia from Proven Winners, and the really red, it's not a Vista, but it's a really red Petunia also. We put an American flag in the middle and then used a blue pot because in case the Lobelia poops out on me, which it can do, I'll still have blue in my arrangement here. So this is doing pretty good. The Lobelia looks okay. It doesn't look fabulous. They were saying that it could handle the heat of the summer in this new improved, but I don't know. Maybe it's getting too much sun. It does get pretty much sun all day until it gets a little bit of relief from this pallet wall right here. Provides some relief like after 4 o'clock, but for the most part this thing's getting sun all day long. We do water all of these pots every day. All right, another one that we did, it's right here. This was the one that we did with the Sun Credible sunflowers. And the one thing I'm noticing with these is, sorry about that. I had to stop. A bug flew in my mouth and I was trying to get the bug out of my mouth. Okay, that seems to happen to me a lot. But what I noticed with these Sun Credibles is this one is supposed to be the Saturn, and they're supposed to have orange in the center. And these don't have orange in the center. They're all yellow. So I don't know if they were mislabeled or if mine just aren't doing that, or I'm not sure. So I just know that they're yellow. I still like them. And as you can see, I do have to go in and deadhead these. So I will have to go in and clean these up. So that is a chore that I'll have to do. The other thing that I put in this pot was the Calibrachoa. This is the Coral Sun. And I just think that this is so sweet and beautiful. I love the color. I love the yellow, the coral. I just like everything about this Calibrachoa. And then we used a Pineapple Brandy Coleus from Proven Winners in the Color Blaze series. And again, this is like one of those pots that's planted in quads where you got 1, 2, 3, you know, in the area. So this Pineapple Brandy will get bigger, and I'm hoping that this just spills in the front and the back gets bigger and that it looks a little more balanced. It still looks a little unbalanced. I do like the color palette of this one though, and so we'll see how it does as we progress. Okay, last 2 pots. This was the one that we did in the window box, and it's got the Diamond Frost Euphorbia on either side. It's got the Snow Flurry Proven Winner Heart to Heart Caladium, the Surefire Rose Begonia. Oh, look, I got a little maple tree growing there. And then the Helichrysum in the center. So There we go. That one's doing pretty good. It doesn't look much bigger though. It looks about the same. And this last grouping, I don't know if I said it, they were planted on May, if I can read my writing, May 12th. So not very long ago. So there you go. There's that one. And then we have one more to look at. All right, here's my bucket of wildflowers. I did this with the Bidens, with the yellow and red edged, and then all yellow. And then I used the Osteospermum, the gold, and this was my play on a bucket of wildflowers. And as you can see here, I have to deadhead. I'm not a fan of deadheading, but if I have to do it, I will. So I am gonna cut this back a little bit, feed it, and then see if it maybe bushes out a little bit better. It seems kind of, well, I guess wildflower-ish, which is what I was going for, but I think I want it to be a little more compact. So I will cut it back and feed it. Okay, so there you have it, our Super Summer Challenge, 13 pots that are growing like mad. Some of them I love, some of them I don't love. Some of them are doing fabulous, and some of them I feel like they're limping along. So we're just gonna keep on feeding them, keep on watering them, and then we'll give you an update in like a month in July. We'll see how they're doing, and we'll keep you posted. You'll probably see a few of them as I do tours around too, but for now, that's all I got. I'm Michelle. Have a great day. Keep on gardening, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.